Hi class, my name is Yadi, and today I want to discuss with you all an issue that I know many of us have faced, and this is the inability to cope with stress. Us as college students, we are always experiencing a very high level of stress, and this stress can come from either being alone on our own for the first time or just from trying to balance life, school, or work, whatever it might be. Well, what ends up happening is that we start to rely on a lot of negative coping mechanisms to deal with this stress. What I noticed I would do in the past is that I would spend around 4 hours a day on my phone, and I would check my screen time and realized that this would add up to 28 hours a week I was spending on social media. I would also love to escape the reality of the world and my stressors, and I would binge watch my favorite Netflix shows. And sometimes these series were only 10 episodes long and I can finish them in a whole weekend. Well, this was 10 hours I was spending sitting or lying down, not doing anything other than watching TV. And we all know that when we're stressed out, we love to satisfy our hardest cravings and eat our favorite snacks and desserts, and really just create these unhealthy coping mechanisms that sometimes make us feel good. When we eat our favorite snacks and we watch our favorite shows, we release these small feel-good hormones for momentarily that make us forget about the stress we're dealing with. But why, if we feel that way, is this a problem? Well, what happens is that it creates negative behaviors and a lifestyle that kind of translates into our adulthood. As adults, the stress does not go away. It will continue in our lives and in our work after college. And I think it's important for us as college students to find a way to deal with that stress in a more positive way. What I found happened to me after dealing with some of these negative coping mechanisms was that I started to gain a lot of weight from having low activity and eating unhealthy. I started to have a really low self-confidence and created negative thoughts in my head about the future and about myself, which led to further anxiety and further depression. And it didn't really help me feel my best. So what I found as my best solution, and what I encourage some of you to do if you've also experienced some of these feelings that I had in the past, is to exercise. And exercise, it's so important. Why? Because it stimulates endorphins in our bodies. And endorphins are our body's natural painkillers and mood elevators. For me, I found that it gave me a new sense of energy that I had for the rest of the day after I worked out. I would be able to complete tasks and kind of reduce some of that stress that I had from constantly procrastinating because I was on my phone for many hours a day or watching TV all day. It also started to change my body a little bit. I started to feel stronger, feel more confident, and feel my best. And this really started to improve my own self-image and my thoughts about myself and kind of reduce some of those anxieties about the future, because I was spending my time doing things that I liked and things that contributed to my feelings and emotions. And I know that we all have excuses for why we don't work out, and I know that sometimes even I still make them. But when I feel like I start to get off track and I let that stress take over, I constantly remind myself to get up and just get moving. That's all I have to do, is to kind of deal with that stress. So what I challenge you to do is, just for 1 hour of your day, try to fit in some physical activity. And as a challenge as well, I challenge you to check your screen time. See how much time you're spending on Instagram, TikTok. It really starts to reduce that, it starts to reduce our excuses of not having enough time in a day when we start to see, oh, I've watched 3 episodes of Netflix and now the TV is asking me if I'm still watching TV when I really am. And exercise, it looks different for everyone. It can be yoga, Pilates, cycling, rock climbing, running, swimming, CrossFit, and that's what I do, CrossFit. So CrossFit is actually a group class, and it's very fun because you're struggling together instead of alone, and it challenges me to try different movements and work my body and my mind in ways that I never thought possible. So what I encourage you to do is grab a group of friends and try a fitness class. A lot of fitness studios, they offer the first class for free, and you can start to find stuff that work for you and make a routine that really works and do stuff that you love. CrossFit won't be for everyone, and so that's why I encourage you to find what works for you. And I know it won't be easy, but it will definitely be worth it in the end. You know, we will all struggle to make this a routine, and sometimes we'll even fail and go back to those negative coping mechanisms. But one day, when you're sitting there watching TV and you realize that the TV is asking you, are you still watching this Netflix series? You'll start to feel those, you'll start to think those thoughts of when the last time you exercised was, and how you had feelings of those of strength and of energy, and how you crave it a little bit more. Maybe just by thinking about it, it will encourage you to get up and get moving. So that's what I encourage you all to do, and I appreciate the time you took to listen to this presentation.